Hi, I'm Joe Nags and today we're going to be talking about phone sizes. We start our journey in 2007 with the release of the iPhone. It was considered the perfect size for a smartphone device with a 3.5-inch diagonal display because of the one-handed operational use. It took a year for another smartphone competitor with the HTC Dream, also known as the T-Mobile G1. Before we even talk about the size, it lacked multi-touch gestures, which suffered against the iPhone. It did however have a 3.2-inch screen, so in the same ballpark as the iPhone. In 2009, it was relatively quiet year in regards to displays, as many phones were hosting similar hardware, such as the Palm Pre with a 3.1-inch screen, a cheaper HTC Tattoo going below 3 inches to 2.8 inch, and the Nokia 900 at 3.5 inches. We finally went over the standard display with the Google Nexus 1 in 2010, but not by much as it only increased by 0.2 inches. Though it still was a change. In my opinion, it was the year 2010 when Android finally started making some decent handsets that could actually compete with the iPhone. But then came Samsung with the Galaxy S. Not only has it sold 24 million units as of January 2013, but it has reached the 4-inch territory for the first time. So by late 2010 the smartphone market had a 4-inch phone. This was probably the start of the increase of the phone sizes that may have been too risky to do previously. The smartphone market filled with 4-inch screens or thereabouts in 2011 with handsets from HTC such as the Sensation and the Thunderbolt, Motorola Droid phones and of course the Galaxy Nexus, which hit a whopping 4.65 inches. At this point it was obvious that companies thought the 4 to 4.5 inch bracket was best suited for smartphone users. iPhone users were still stuck at their 3.5 inch screen, but questions were starting to ask whether the phone size was just a little bit too small. There was one phone, however, that did buck the trend. The Samsung Galaxy Note. If you thought 4.5 inch screens were too big, then Samsung thought differently thanks to its 5.3 inch screen. Of course, one of the main differences between the Note and the rest is the introduction of the stylus. That of course was abandoned by manufacturers after the release of the iPhone. Samsung did a good job of integrating the stylus into the handset though. As 2012 was drawing to the close, the Android scene still dominated with displays between 4 and 4.5, while Samsung thought of doing something different with the Note. This was probably the start of the megaphone era you see today, and Samsung is still pushing this today. You may be wondering why I've not mentioned any Windows phones. That's because not a single handset has a higher screen than 4.5, apart from the Samsung T, but I'm sorry I'm not going to count that one because it just seems alone in that statistic. One of the reasons why I think phone sizes have peaked at 4.5 is the resolution. I do believe there's a strict resolution limit on Windows phones, as Microsoft restricts what resolutions can work on their handset. it's only the Ativa and the HTC 8X that has a 720p display. You know, the flat OS design probably means that there isn't a need for Retina. For Android, on the other hand, consumers seem to want those Retina displays, which meant that packing so many pixels in a smaller space was a little bit more difficult. A 4-inch screen probably isn't the best for housing a 1080p resolution, which was the case in 2012, as we saw companies bring out their 5-inch displays, like the HTC Butterfly. The Galaxy S3, Nexus 4 and the HTC One X all had similar displays, while the iPhone only just reached 4-inch. Now there's a range of 4.7 to 5-inch screens on the market, and of course the Galaxy Note 2, which is at 5.5 inches. But that's nothing if you think about it, especially because Samsung released 2 more phones recently, the Mega 5.8 and 6.3. Yep, 6.3 inches. I did originally think that 5.3 inches on the Galaxy Note was a bit excessive, but then I got one. Now I have a Galaxy Note 2, which is even bigger. Whenever I look at my phone and the iPod side by side, I just think the iPod is so dwarfed. Remember, technology is moving so fast. With that, it's also becoming cheaper. So it's plausible to think that manufacturers are making larger phones because the costs aren't too different. It all comes down to consumer preferences. I personally prefer the larger phones, even though I do look stupid when taking phone calls. I still think there's a gap to compete with the iPhone in the 4-inch area, as practically most of the Android handsets are around 5 inches. Guys, let me know what do you think. What's your perfect screen size? Thanks for watching today's video. You can follow me more on the YouTubes if you want, and thanks for watching. I'll see you guys later. Bye bye.